What's up, guys? We are back with a full slate of NBA action here on Monday, February 3rd. We're going to break down every NBA game tonight. We're also going to look at a couple of the biggest NCAA basketball games on the slate. We're going to look at bets on the side and over-under, and make sure to check that pinned comment throughout the day to see if there's any changes as injury news and player availability is confirmed. Yesterday went pretty well, guys. We had a nice day on Sunday going 3-1 overall. We hit Cleveland minus 12. We got in on that one before the trade news there for Dallas, so that was nice. And it went to 15, but still, guys, we would have been on Cleveland for sure in that one. They got a blowout win, winning by 43 points. We had Toronto plus 5. They were at home for that one for a kind of a day game situation against the Clippers, and I didn't think the Clippers were going to have a great time. They didn't have Norman Powell, and it turned out to be a great spot to be there on Toronto because they ended up winning that game straight up 115 to 108. We also had West Virginia at plus 5. That one came through for us, so nice to cash a little college bet there. We did have the Memphis Tigers at minus 10. Unfortunately, that one doesn't work out, guys. A rough day there for Memphis. They win the game, but Rice makes it pretty close. So a 3-1 day overall. We will certainly take it, guys. Do me a huge favor. Hit that like button. It does wonders to help these videos get promoted out there. You guys have been great about it recently, so let's keep up the good work. Keep hitting that thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. We are on a march to 50,000 subscribers, and every single one of you guys hitting that button definitely helps. You can also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all of my videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of my members, guys. It really is a great way to show that you are a big fan and a big supporter of what we're doing on this channel. Guys, all of our videos are sponsored by StumpTheSpread.com. We have a team of experienced cappers over there for every major sport, currently covering NBA, college basketball, UFC, NHL, and we've got Super Bowl stuff coming up this week. We've been on a pretty reasonable run over there, especially UFC just had a great time, so we'll definitely take that. I think he swept the board. I'm not sure. I'm not a big UFC guy, but our UFC expert over there has been on quite the run. I know he cashed a UFC parlay for sure, so he had a pretty good time on the last UFC slate. Click the link in the description to get over to StumpTheSpread.com and check us out. If you're not sure if you want to sign up for a premium package right away, definitely just go ahead and get on our free email list. It makes, it's great for us. It's great for you. You get free information. You get free picks emailed straight to your inbox once a day. We don't spam you with a ton of emails, just one a day with, free picks on it. Also, it's a great way to keep track of our results on our premium picks. Guys, comment below with any bets you're looking at today. I'll give you my best advice on all of them. I respond to every single comment every day, so let me know anything you want to say about me, my videos, these picks, and ask for any sort of advice or help you want. I will be more than happy to answer. Now, let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Washington Wizards going on the road to take on the Charlotte Hornets. Washington comes into this game fresh off a very rare win. Pretty embarrassing stuff there for the Timberwolves, guys. Washington got the 105 to 103 win against Minnesota. Yeah, you can't make this up, guys. Minnesota they were 17.5 point favorites in that game, I believe, and yeah, just embarrassing stuff, really. They didn't play well at all. No shocker there. Jaden Daniels led the team with 23 points. They didn't play Anthony Edwards in this game, and my God, you immediately can tell how bad this team would be without him. I mean, we've got Naz Reid starting. He put up 8 points in 20 minutes. That's a pretty big yikes. Rudy Gobert, 16 points, 16 rebounds. Congratulations, Rudy Gobert. Your team lost, and it's partially because you suck. Didn't like anything we really saw there from the Timberwolves. The Wizards played pretty well. We saw Kuzma put up 31 points. Seems like he was pretty tilted by that compilation of him shooting air balls going around. And yeah, they shot 45% from three. That will get the job done. So we'll see what the Wizards have here in the tank going on the road to take on the Charlotte Hornets. Washington, we do see Alex Sarr probably out for this game, but other than that, they are healthy coming into this game, heading on the road to take on the Hornets, who are on a 4-game losing streak. They're only 12-34 in the year. Clearly a team that is tanking it out. They did keep things close against the Nuggets their last time out, eventually losing 107 to 104. Miles Bridges is putting up some pretty good numbers, guys. 24 points from him. Mark Williams scored 20, 19 there from Nick Smith Jr. So there's reason for optimism for this team. I mean, they obviously don't have their two best players out there, like no Brandon Miller, no LaMelo Ball. So without them, you can't really get a good idea of what this team could actually do. But I think we could see, much better stuff from them at some point this season when they get healthy and, at some point maybe in the next couple of years. But right now things are looking a little bit bleak. They come to this game not healthy. Big shock there. LaMelo Ball listed as out for this game. He's going to be reevaluated in a week after his most recent ankle issue. So bro needs to get on whatever Steph Curry got on to get over his ankle problems. Whatever exercises, whatever it was, changing his stride pattern, whatever it is, you got to make it happen, bro. Because you keep non-contact rolling your ankles, things are not going to improve for you in your career. We also see Micic listed as day-to-day, Cody Martin out, and Okogie also out for this game. So looking at the numbers, the Hornets 4-point favorites here. We've got a total of 217.5. Washington 8-13 and 2 against spread on the road, 2-4 against spread after win. They're 24-24 to the over/under. Charlotte 14-11-1 against spread at home, 17-16 against spread after a loss. They're 29-17 to the under. That is an NBA best mark to the under. So right off the bat, guys, I think under 217.5, very, very live in this game. I would be pretty interested in that one. I'm also interested in taking the Hornets here at -4, despite the fact they're not at full strength. You know, the Wizards are terrible, so not a game that I'm going to be on in a big way. If you're forcing me to bet it, I will be taking that under, but let's go ahead and move on to some greener pastures, guys. And next up, we're looking at the Atlanta Hawks going on the road to take on the Detroit Pistons. The Hawks come into this game fresh off of another loss, guys. It's getting pretty bleak there. They've now lost 8 in a row. They lost 132-127 at the Pacers. Now they got to continue this road trip as they head to Detroit. Atlanta, I don't know, guys. I mean, they've had a lot of injury problems in that game against the Pacers. Things didn't really work out. Trae Young had a great game, 34 points. That's cool. 23 there from Dyson Daniels. He had a great game, 2 of 3 from 3, but overall, guys, still losing despite shooting nearly 40% from 3. Going 23 of 32 from the free throw line isn't amazing, but they had, a free throw shooting edge in that game, and they just not good, guys. 14 points off the bench there for Garrison Matthews. That's cool. Hunter off the bench, not good. Only 4 points for him. He was kind of the reason they lost this game, and things just not looking good there for Atlanta. They come into this game still banged up, guys. We see Bogdanovic and Clint Capella there looking pretty likely to miss this game. Yeah, Bogdanovic out for personal reasons, and Clint Capella with his back issue. Yeah, he's not on this road trip even, so he's clearly not going to be in there. Trae Young, even on the injury report, he's listed as day-to-day with that Achilles, but he's probable, so it looks like we'll see him out there as they go on the road to take on the Detroit Pistons, who are now 25-24 on the season, fresh off of back-to-back wins. They beat the Mavs, then they beat the Bulls 127-119. So a high-scoring game, but they make it happen, guys. Cade putting up 22 points, so not one of those monster Cade performances, but once again we see him not doing much from the free throw line. Very ethical bucket getter. Only one free throw from a guy that goes to the bucket like Cade seems a little bit insane. Jalen Duren, a very nice game, 21 points, 13 boards. This team seems like they're putting it back together. And Malik Beasley just continues to absolutely kill off the bench. He had 19 points. He was 5 of 11 from 3, 7 of 13 from the field overall. So great stuff from him. And the Pistons just keep right on rolling, guys. They've stated, like Cade has clearly stated, their goal this season is to end up in the 6th seed or better. And it looks like they have at least a possibility of making that happen. They've done a pretty good job of staying healthy, obviously with Jaden Ivey being a pretty big exception, but that's not his fault. Cole Anthony dove into his legs. That's a whole nother thing. But we love what we're seeing from the Pistons in terms of health. First unit, second unit, everyone is ready to go. So looking at the numbers here, the Pistons are 3.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 235. Atlanta 12-14 against spread on the road, 11-15 against spread after a loss. They're 29-20 to the over. Detroit 10-12-1 against spread at home, but they're 4-2-2 against spread on no rest, so that's a good look. They're 10-12-2 against spread after a win. They're a slight over team as well, so you could maybe look at over 235, but it's not really a play that I'm going to be super interested in. In general, guys, I'm leaning towards the Pistons in this game. I mean, earlier this season, we did see these teams play a 1-point game, and then we saw the Pistons win by 10 back on January 22nd. So not that long ago in that game, and Cade had a big one. We saw Dyson Daniels actually lead the Hawks in scoring. Trae Young played 40 minutes in that game. So yeah, a pretty nice day out there from Detroit. Atlanta just couldn't throw it in the ocean, that one. So guys, give me the Pistons here at -3.5. I know they're playing on no rest here, but the Hawks are still banged up, and Detroit, they're playing well. I think they've got a great chance to get another win here, especially playing at home against a Hawks team that's on this road trip. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Houston Rockets going on the road here to take on the New York Knicks. The Rockets come into this game 32-16 on the year, but they've actually lost 2 in a row. They just lost at the Grizzlies in, a nail biter, a tough loss, and then they lost against the Brooklyn Nets. So that's a bad loss, guys. You lost by 12 against the Brooklyn Nets. I don't care what version of your team you had. Like, you pretty much had everybody you're supposed to have. You just didn't have Alperen Sengun, and yeah, it was a terrible day out there for Amin Thompson. A decent day from Dylan Brooks, to be honest, but Steven Adams, he did what he's supposed to do out there, but Fred VanVleet was terrible, only played 17 minutes, so we'll be looking into that. Jalen Green, 38 minutes. He was, a -9, but still played really well, but just not a lot of positives there from the bench either. So a rough day there from the Rockets. Definitely losing a game they are not supposed to lose. This is a team that's got aspirations this season, but you got to play a lot better than you played over your last couple if you want any of those dreams to come true. They're also a team that's involved in some trade rumors, so that could be affecting them a little bit here. We will just have to wait and see. They come into this game not healthy at all, guys. Fred VanVleet, the reason he only played 17 minutes in that game, that ankle issue, he will not be out here for this game at all. So there's no chance Fred VanVleet plays. We also see Alperen Sengun. He may be nearing a return. He's technically questionable with that calf issue. It sounds like he could possibly miss this game, though. Yeah, it was a left calf contusion. He's going to be an all-star this year, so, maybe you put in the work and get back out there, but we'll see. Maybe nothing he can do. Maybe nothing he can do. So we'll see what version of the Houston Rockets we have here as they go on the road to take on the New York Knicks, who are 32-17 on the season, but they're coming off of a blowout loss at the hands of the Lakers. I'm not going to say it was a fully embarrassing loss, guys, but losing 128-112 against the Lakers, and that was a game at Madison Square Garden. You clearly had 0-1 negative a million answer there for LeBron James, who put up 33 points against you. Hart actually led the team in scoring. He was 11 of 16 from the field, scored 26 points, but was still somehow a minus 20. Did not, OG and Anunoby only playing 17 minutes. That's a situation that's definitely going to need to be monitored. Jalen Brunson, guys, not a great day for him despite playing 40 minutes. 15 points from Precious Achiuwa off the bench in his 29 minutes, and Miles McBride did what he's supposed to do. But yeah, you're going to lose some games when you're a Knicks team that plays no defense, especially if you have some injuries, which is kind of what it seems like is happening to them right now. So we'll see if they can get back on track here. We do see Josh Hart and OG Anunoby there on the injury report. Josh Hart having, missing games would be a huge problem for this team. He's questionable with right knee soreness. He's been questionable for quite a few games. I will be pretty shocked if he doesn't end up playing in this one. OG Anunoby, he's dealing with that foot issue. He's questionable for this game, and after playing only 17 minutes there against the Lakers, I think we have to be very, very concerned that he ends up missing this game. So, looking at the numbers for this one, the Knicks are 5.5-point favorites at home. We've got a total of 223.5. Houston 16-7-1 against spread on the road. That's an NBA best against the spread record on the road. They are 10-5 against spread after a loss. That's also very good. They're 25-22-1 to the over. The Knicks 14-11-1 against spread at home. 10-6 against spread after loss. So that's a very good against spread after loss number as well. And they are a slight over team also. So if you wanted to go over 223.5, I think that's a great spot to have an overplay, to be honest. I worry a little bit about the Houston Rockets defense messing things up for that overplay, but still, that's a very small number. Definitely give me the over in this game. You could also talk me into taking the Houston Rockets, getting 5.5 points here on the road. The Knicks being banged up is not a good thing. This is a very shallow team. No OG Anunoby definitely messes stuff up for them. We don't know for sure if he's going to sit this game out, but I'm definitely leaning towards he probably will. So I'm going to be riding with the Rockets here and the over in this one. Both of those plays have a great chance to end up in the pinned comment. Hey guys, jumping in here with a quick ad break. This is a great time to sign up for StumpTheSpread.com. Signing up for a premium membership gets you access to our top confidence plays on all the major sports. We're currently covering NCAA basketball, the NBA, NHL, UFC, and the NFL. We have a team of professional cappers that work extremely hard putting in the research on these games every day so you don't have to. We make things very easy for you with pick notifications directly to your phone and unit sizes assigned to each play so you can see where our confidence level is on every individual matchup. To test out the service before you buy, join our free email list, get the occasional free or premium pick straight to your inbox. Just click the link in the description to sign up for a free account. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Now, guys, back to the games. Next on the docket, guys, we got an interesting spot. We got the San Antonio Spurs going on the road to take on the Memphis Grizzlies. The Spurs were making a splash there in the trade market, guys. They did actually go out and get De'Aaron Fox, so a big deal there. They didn't lose too much for him, obviously, giving up Zach Collins, Trey Jones in that trade as well. Kevin Huerter there from the Kings. So, yeah, some interesting moves there. Big deal, obviously. Now we've got a real legitimate, starting level, professional level point guard there for the San Antonio Spurs. So we'll see when De'Aaron Fox makes his team debut. It very well could be in this game. I'm not seeing anything indicating that it can't be, but that also feels very much up in the air. So yeah, we'll see when De'Aaron Fox makes his team debut. It could be for this game. Also, guys, just a lot of moving parts here for the San Antonio Spurs right now. So a team a little bit in flux. They are fresh off of a pretty bad loss. They lost 105-103 there against the Heat, but maybe with trade rumors swirling, that could be part of the reason this went on. We saw Chris Paul score 12 points in that game. He didn't look terrible. He hasn't looked good this season, generally speaking, but the most important thing to take from this game is they had no Wembanyama out there. So you don't really expect the Spurs to look too good without him. Keldon Johnson looked amazing off the bench. He had 19 points, but overall, not their best effort to lose by 2 against the, pretty limited Miami Heat right now. So we'll see what goes on with the Spurs here. Obviously, a team that has a lot of moving parts at the moment. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Memphis Grizzlies, who are 33-16 on the year. They're fresh off of a nice 132-119 win last night there at the Milwaukee Bucks. So Good stuff there from Memphis. They're going to be playing on no rest in this one, but that hasn't really been a problem for this team, so keep that in mind. In that blowout win, guys, we saw Jaren Jackson Jr. play amazing. He had 37 points, 22 there from Desmond Bane. He continues to be very solid despite not having a great time shooting the ball from deep. Memphis only shot 35% from three, a number they can definitely improve on. They smashed the Bucks on the boards, guys. They out-rebounded Milwaukee 61-36. Yeah, you don't see discrepancies like that very often. The Bucks got destroyed in this game despite shooting 44% from three. I don't want to say it's fully time to panic there for Milwaukee, but when you're losing games where you shoot 20 of 45 from three, even Giannis knocking down a couple threes, it's probably time to be making some moves. And they've already stated that they're more than willing to be, in the mix there in the trade market. So we'll see what happens there. The Grizzlies come into this game relatively healthy. We do see Ja listed right now as out with that shoulder issue. He, was out there for that Sunday game. Could he be back here on Monday? I don't think it's impossible, but I also don't think it's any sort of lock that he plays. But also at this point, I'm not really that worried about whether he plays or not. The Grizzlies are 5.5-point favorites in this game. We've got a total of 240.5. The Spurs 11-9 against spread on the road, 14-10 against spread after a loss, 25-21 to the over. Guys, I don't even really care about all that right now because this is a team that is completely changing. The Memphis Grizzlies 17-8 against spread at home, 6-1 against spread on no rest. That's a pretty interesting set. They're 18-13 against spread after a win. They're 32-17 to the over. So a massive over team. You could interest me maybe in over 240.5, guys, but I don't think that's something I'm going to really be in the business of. I'm going to be looking at the Memphis Grizzlies here at -5.5. Whether or not Wembanyama plays, he's questionable with that illness, so I think there's a shot that he comes back for this game for sure, but I don't think it's a certainty, and regardless, even if he's a little bit limited, I think we're going to see the Grizzlies have the time of their lives out there. So giving Memphis here at -5.5, this is a play that definitely has a chance to end up in the pinned comment, as I think the Spurs, whether or not we see Fox playing this game, are going to be a team in a really weird headspace. Next up, guys, we have the other main team involved in that trade. We've got the Sacramento Kings going on the road here to take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Kings come into this game fresh off a blowout loss there at the Oklahoma City Thunder, losing by 34 points. Probably doesn't feel great. They acquired Zach LaVine in this trade, and it's being reported right now that he will not be playing in this game. Dealing with the birth of a child, getting traded during that has to be, I can't even imagine the stress levels that poor guy's going through right now. Like, it was stressful enough having a kid, and I didn't just have to, get shipped across the country from Chicago to Sacramento. So, yeah, lots of craziness there for Zach LaVine. I wish him the best. I hope he gets his life in order, and I'm very excited to see him out there on a team that, is definitely better than the one that he's leaving. We'll see how things go there with Zach LaVine. Obviously, pairing him back up with DeMar DeRozan could be pretty interesting. The Kings obviously coming into this game fresh off a terrible performance there against the Thunder, just clearly not on that level. We see guys like, Malik Monk and Sabonis doing their best out there, but you can only do so much. And the Kings just couldn't throw in the ocean either. They shot 25% from three-point range in that game. So you're not going to have a chance against the Thunder when you do stuff like that. They're not going to have Zach LaVine for this game, which obviously means, and obviously they're not going to have De'Aaron Fox. So not going to be the full strength Kings here as they go on the road to take on the Timberwolves, who are fresh off probably the most embarrassing loss of the NBA season. They've got to be pumped that all this trade news is going on, because otherwise the Timberwolves losing to the Wizards would be the #1 thing on the news cycle. I don't care that they didn't have Anthony Edwards, guys. That is just flat out embarrassing stuff. So we'll see if they can bounce back here. All the others have to be feeling like, man, we really suck without Anthony Edwards, because they for sure did suck. No Julius Randle in that game either, so I don't know what to make of that. Maybe they're getting ready to trade him. That would be awesome if they had found a trade partner. That would definitely make their team better, but I don't know if the addition by subtraction situation is going to work out here for the Timberwolves. Looking at their injury report, guys, Anthony Edwards listed as day-to-day. Julius Randle still listed as out. We've got Naz Reid on there. Anthony Edwards dealing with that illness. He's questionable for this game. I think he's very likely to come back and play in this one. Julius Randle dealing with, they're going to be out him for a while. That groin strain, he's not going to be back. So he's going to be out for a bit. Maybe they can find a trade partner. I think they would love to do that, but I just don't know if that's going to be a reality. I don't know that anybody wants Julius Randle. Naz Reid, he's questionable with a finger issue, and honestly, Naz Reid just is not having the kind of season that I expected him to. He did have an amazing game there against Utah, but yeah, he's hasn't cracked more than 15 points in any of his last 5 games, and just is not looking like the insane threat that we saw him be a season ago. So, looking at the numbers for this one, the Timberwolves are 4.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 221.5. Sacramento 9-13-1 against spread on the road, 8-13-2 against the spread after a loss. They're 25-21-2 to the over. Minnesota's only 5-17-1 against spread at home. That's an NBA worst mark against spread at home. They are 8-12-1 against spread after a loss, and they are a slight over team. Guys, I definitely want to take the Minnesota Timberwolves here at home. I don't think I can put it in the pinned comment given how poorly they've been playing against spread at home this season. So probably not going to go in the pinned comment, but against the Sacramento Kings team that's going to be without, a lot of the trade, I think for them is a good thing. I just don't think it's going to help them quite yet. So definitely think this is a good spot to take the Timberwolves here at -4.5. I honestly think it's such a good spot. It could end up in the pinned comment despite the fact I'm very scared of how bad against the spread Minnesota's been. And they're in this huge bounce back spot. Screw it, guys. We're ignoring that 5-17-1 against spread at home number. I don't care. Huge bounce back spot for the Timberwolves. They're not going to mess around. They get the winning cover here against the Sacramento Kings. Put the Timberwolves in that pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Milwaukee Bucks going on the road to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. The Bucks are a disaster right now, guys. They're down to 26-21 on the year. They've lost 4 out of their last 5. Their only win in that mix was at the Jazz. They've got losses in there against the Clippers, Trailblazers, Spurs, and then that loss against the Grizzlies, who didn't even have Ja Morant. In that game, guys, they had no answers there for Jaren Jackson Jr. I don't know how far away from demanding a trade Giannis is right now, but it's got to be getting closer and closer. He put up 30 points. He played well, except for not loving an 0 for 6 night from the free throw line from Giannis. He was a -3 out there despite scoring 30 points. He got very little help. A bad night there for Dame. A bad night there for Brook Lopez. Chris Middleton killed off the bench. He had 20 points off the bench. He was only a -6 on a night the Bucks did not have a good time. They shot 44% from 3 and still managed to lose this game. So things are not looking that bright right now for Milwaukee. They need a big turnaround here, but I don't know how they're going to get it, guys. They are technically healthy coming into this game. I mean, Bobby Portis is out. We don't know when he's going to be back with the team, but right now, the Giannis, Dame, duo not really translating into a lot of wins, despite Giannis always going out and getting his numbers. So this is a team I could very, very much wrap my head around making some sort of big, maybe not a blockbuster, like maybe not trading Giannis or Dame situation, but trading every freaking buddy else. So we'll see what the Bucks try to do here at the trade deadline. If they stand pat, I think that is a horrible idea, but we'll see what happens with them as they go on the road to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder, who are fresh off of just demolishing the Sacramento Kings 144-110. They're 38-9 on the season. They're definitely looking like they could be the best team in the NBA, and the vast majority of the season, they've been without Chet Holmgren, guys. This team doesn't have to make a trade. They've got one of the best, probably, 40 players in the NBA. I don't know where to put Chet, honestly, in the grand scheme of things in the NBA. But they have a very good player that is definitely going to improve their team just sitting on the bench, getting his hip healthy. So once they have Chet Holmgren back, they're going to be much better. And this team doesn't need to be making a trade. They're not going to be worried about it. These guys are sleeping well at night. We see Aaron Wiggins coming off of a massive game, guys. He put up 41 points. SGA had 29 of his own, 20 there from Dort, not something you see every night. Hartenstein did his thing out there, had 16 points, 15 boards, and 6 assists. This team just looks inevitable, guys. I mean, they shot 40% from 3, 53% from the field in general. They dominated the Sacramento Kings, and they are just cruising right now. The Thunder look so good. They look like they actually care about the regular season, which is kind of nuts. And yeah, they're just looking amazing. We do see some guys on the injury report. Caruso on there for sure. Carson Wallace, Jalen Williams, all on there. Carson Wallace, guys, he's dealing with a shoulder issue. He's questionable for this one, but this team has so much depth. Guys like this can miss games, and it's not a big deal. Jalen Williams, questionable with his wrist. Another guy you would think would be a huge deal if he missed this game, right? I don't think it's that huge of a problem. And we all see Alex Caruso. He's been dealing with injuries for a while. We'll see when he comes back. Having him in there as a defensive stopper is a huge deal for this team, but they need him for the playoffs. They don't probably worry about too much about having him here for the regular season. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, the Thunder are 10-point favorites. We've got a total of 233.5. Milwaukee, 9-13 against spread on the road. They are 2-5-1 against spread this season on no rest. 9-10 against spread after a loss, and they're a slight over team. Oklahoma City, 15-7-1 against spread at home. They're 22-13-2 against spread after a win. So this is not a team that has big letdowns, and they're 25-21-2 to the over. Guys, I am definitely hammering it here on the Oklahoma City Thunder at -10. I think it's a very good spot. Definitely going in the pinned comment. I think they're going to dominate a Milwaukee Bucks team that has pretty much the entire roster terrified. They're going to be traded right now, and they're just playing terrible in general. I know we've seen, this matchup doesn't always go great for the Thunder, but I think it will this time, and I have no worries about this play. Definitely give me the Thunder here at -10. moving right along, guys, we're looking at the New Orleans Pelicans going on the road to take on the Denver Nuggets. The Pelicans come into this game losers of their last 5 in a row. They're 12-37 on the year. Will this team do anything at the trade deadline? It'll be interesting to see. They are coming off a couple of heartbreakers, honestly, guys. They lost a 1-point game there against the Mavericks, then lost a 2-point game to a game winner there against the Boston Celtics. So they're playing hard. They're trying out there. Are they auditioning for other teams? That could be possible. There are dudes on this roster that are probably untouchable, but when you see Luka Doncic get traded, guys, it feels like no one is untouchable. Trey Murphy had a massive game there against Boston, guys. 40 points, 15 of 20 from the field, 50%, 8 of 12 there from the three-point line, so way better than 50%, my bad. CJ McCollum, not his best game out there shooting the ball. 20 points off the bench for Jose Alvarado. You don't see that every day. And the Pelicans managed to lose this game despite shooting 40% from the three-point line. So tough game, tough day. They even had a good edge there on the board. So this is a team that can do some stuff, especially when they're healthy. They didn't have Zion for that game, and it really feels like if they would have had Zion, they would have probably came away with the win. So we'll see if they have him in this one. He's not on the injury report, but that doesn't stop him from getting scratched late in the day. So keep a close eye on the injury report, but it looks like they're starting 5 more than ready to go here. We see Jordan Hawkins and Daniel Tice on the injury report, but neither one of those guys really moved the needle for me that much. Hawkins dealing with an illness, he's questionable, and Daniel Tice dealing with his thumb is also questionable here as they go on the road to take on the Denver Nuggets, who come into this game winners of 2 in a row. Doesn't feel great when you're winning games by 3 points. Each of their last 2 games, they won by 3 points at Philadelphia and 3 points at Charlotte. So these are probably teams you should be handling a lot more comfortably. In that win at Charlotte, guys, Jokic putting up 28 points. No big shocker there. Aaron Gordon only 6 points, but 28 points there from like Jokic, like I was saying, 20 from Jamal Murray, 24 from Christian Brown. That's a good look, but the concern for this team is the health of Westbrook. Him going down is not ideal, and they got to shoot the ball better, guys. They shot only 7 of 37 from the three-point line, so they're going to shoot the ball better than that. That's not going to happen very often, but not super stoked with what we've seen from them lately. Westbrook being out obviously sucks. We also see Peyton Watson listed as out. Westbrook dealing with that hamstring. He's going to be out here for a little bit. No reason to rush him back. Peyton Watson, guys, dealing with a knee issue. He has been officially ruled out for this game. So looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Nuggets are 11.5-point favorites. We've got a total there of 239.5. The Pelicans only 7-16 against spread on the road. They are 14-21-1 against spread after a loss. They're 28-20-1 to the over. Denver 11-10-1 against spread at home, 14-14-1 against spread after a win, and 31-18 to the over. So, guys, with such big trends here pointing towards the over, you could definitely talk me into over, but this game's got to get to 240 total points for us to cash that bet, so I don't love that one. I'm definitely leaning more here, and this is going against the trends, at least kind of, towards the Pelicans getting 11.5 points. We see Zion play. He's played really, really well. I don't think the Nuggets are in a very good spot here without Westbrook, so I think this is definitely a spot you want to be looking at the Pelicans. Denver is in a bounce-back spot in terms of shooting the ball. I don't think they're going to shoot whatever it was, 12% or whatever crazy number it was from 3 like they did against Charlotte, but I still think the Pelicans can keep things very, very competitive. Rolling right along here, guys, we're looking at the Indiana Pacers going on the road to take on the Utah Jazz. The Pacers come into this game playing pretty well. They've won 5 out of their last 6, so not too shabby. They're fresh off that 132-127 win there against the Hawks, so good stuff in that one as well. Obviously, a pretty competitive game. Siakam playing well. He's played well all season. Like, that dude, you can just pencil him in for his numbers. Like, he's a killer. 20 points, 8 of 16 from the field, 9 rebounds, 5 assists. Like, just getting the work done. We also saw every Pacers starter score at least 15 points, so that's got to feel pretty good. They shot 36% from 3, not an amazing shooting night. Halliburton had 9 assists. Like, this team's just becoming very, very consistent. Obi Toppin playing well off the bench, Aaron Nesmith playing well off the bench, and they're getting healthy out there. So just a lot of positives right now for Indiana. They're not like necessarily a team I can trust to blow out opponents, but they're doing what they're supposed to do. They're getting these wins. They come into this game fully healthy now, so that's a big step in the right direction for a team that has dealt with some injuries this year. So we'll see what the Pacers can get done here. I'm feeling pretty good about the way they've been playing as of late. They're headed on the road to take on the Utah Jazz, who are fresh off a 113-99 win. This is a team that, has been, floated in so many rumors there about trades, and we'll see what they actually end up doing. Nothing meaningful happening for them yet, but guys like Colin Sexton, John Collins, Walker Kessler even, Jordan Clarkson for sure, Keontae George for sure, like these are guys that could definitely be moved here at the trade deadline. In their game against the Magic, they survived Franz Wagner putting up 37 points. They did a really good job of shutting down Paolo Banchero, who had a terrible, terrible night. Good stuff from Colin Sexton, no shocker there. Markkanen just seems like he's kind of mailing it in this season, and he doesn't get the ball that much, so we'll see what goes on with him. Massive game there from John Collins. He's auditioning for other teams, and so is Jordan Clarkson. So we'll see what the Jazz do in this one. They're getting 6.5 points here at home. We've got a total of 238.5. Indiana, 14-11 against spread on the road. 12-14 against spread after win, and they are a slight over team. Utah, 9-12 against spread at home. They're 6-4 against spread after a win. They're 25-21-1 to the over. Guys, the trends point towards the over here, and I wouldn't argue with you too much wanting to go over 238.5, but that's a really big number. These are two teams that can definitely get up and down, though, so I'm not too scared of that. I'm also not too scared of taking the Pacers at -6.5, but I'm going to be real with you. Neither one of those are going anywhere near the pinned comment. Next on the docket, guys, we've got the Orlando Magic going on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors. The Magic are in a free fall right now, guys. They've lost, what is it up to now? 8 of their last 9 or something like that. 3 in a row for sure. They just lost at the Utah Jazz. They lost at the Portland Trail Blazers. They lost at the Miami Heat. Now they're at Golden State to take on the Warriors. So things not really coming together great for the Magic. I guess a team that could be doing something here at the trade deadline. You never know. Definitely could use some help out there. They've been ravaged by injury this season, but they're getting healthy and just things are not exactly falling into place. I mean, at the Jazz, we saw Franz Wagner have a massive game, but we also saw Paolo Banchero look terrible. And Franz Wagner really only had a good game because he shot 20 free throws. So, yeah, as a team, the Magic shot 22% from 3, 33% from the field. They're just, I don't know, it feels like they're running out of options. Cole Anthony had a good game and managed to not, break anybody's legs, so that's nice. But, yeah, I don't know, that's got to be addressed. But really just not a great night out there for the Magic, and those bad nights are starting to stack up. Looking at their injury report, Jalen Suggs still on there, guys, and they need him back in a pretty bad way. He's questionable with that quadriceps injury. He hasn't played since back on the 25th. So, yeah, I don't know, guys. It's been rough. It's been rough. We don't have a lot of clarity on whether or not he's going to be out there for this one, but definitely would be a huge boost here for the Magic if they could get him back as they go on the road to take on the Golden State Warriors, who are 24-24 on the season. They're fresh off of a pretty bad performance. They did win back-to-back games, a little win there against the Jazz, and then a huge statement win against the Oklahoma City Thunder, but then losing against the Suns, coming up really, really short, coming out kind of flat. I mean, we saw Wiggins lead the way there for the Warriors. That's not what's supposed to happen. He was a -26 despite his 17 points. He was only 6 of 20 from the field. Steph was pretty terrible for most of the game. 1 of 6 from 3, 5 of 14 from the field, only 14 points. We loved what we saw from Moses Moody. He played great in this game. He was only a -6, and with everybody putting up terrible plus-minus numbers except for him, maybe we could get him some more playing time. Santos didn't do anything amazing in this game. We liked what we saw from Quentin Post, but he can only do so much out there. He's a young guy. He's a little bit defensively limited, I feel like. So we'll see what the Warriors can do here. A team that I definitely think should be very active at the trade deadline, but they've been extremely, extremely resistant to trading anybody. Like, pretty funny, the Mavs will trade Kuminga, the Lakers will trade Anthony Davis, and the Warriors are like, we absolutely won't trade Podziemski in the offseason, and we absolutely won't trade Kuminga now. Like, what is going on? Like, make some moves, give Steph a chance out there. So we'll see what the Warriors do in this one. They're relatively healthy for this game with the exception of Draymond Green, who's still working on coming back from that calf issue. He could be back on the floor as early as next week, and that's what they were saying a couple days ago. So I guess it's not impossible that he comes back from this one. He's been doing some stuff at practice. I don't think he's had full, contact practice. Yeah, it doesn't look like it. So we'll see if he comes back for this game. It seems very unlikely to me, though. So, but he could be back soon. Looking at the numbers here, the Warriors are 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 212.5. Orlando 9-17 against spread on the road. That's pretty freaking bad, guys. They're also 9-15-1 against spread after a loss. Also not good. They are 30-20 to the under. The Warriors 12-15 against spread at home, 13-9-1 against spread after a loss. They're 25-23 to the under. Do I really want to go under 212.5 here? I don't think so, but I also don't love the over. I do think this is a decent spot to back the Warriors at -2.5. I don't think this is going in the pin comment, though, guys, because I am worried about the Warriors. Other players besides Steph Curry, and I guess besides Draymond Green, should be worried about getting traded. So We'll see if that has any impact on them in this game. That's going to keep this play out of the pinned comment. But I do think the Warriors -2.5 is the side you want to be on if you don't think they're going to be dealing with any sort of nerves about having to uproot their lives and move across this country. Next on the docket, guys, we're looking at the Phoenix Suns. They're going on the road in this one to take on the Portland Trailblazers. The Suns 25-23 on the season. They're fresh off of a loss against the Trailblazers, so I guess they would probably have stayed in Portland for this one after losing that one 127-108. Kind of embarrassing stuff there for the Suns team this season. They're 25-23 on the year, and that is not what was supposed to be going on. A lot of people were like, oh, the Suns are going to be so good. They got Tyus Jones. Like, turns out you need better pieces than that. You need a bench in today's NBA, and they just don't have that. Durant put up 22 points. Devin Booker put up 37. They still lose this game handily there at Portland, and they got to do it again. They got to try and run it back again. Will they be able to find a different result? I don't know, guys. They can play a little bit better than they did, but how much worse can we expect the Trailblazers to play here? I mean, I don't think that much worse. 24 points from Ayton. He looked great out there. He was a plus 25, so obviously he can regress a little bit, but loved what we saw from Scoot Henderson. He played great in this game. Loved what we saw from Sharp. He played great in this game. Donovan Clingan actually had a big block out there, and he did some good things, and we just are loving right now what we're seeing from guys like Anthony Simons. Even though he had a bad game, he still was a plus 3 and scored 16 points despite having an off shooting night. Jeremy Grant played some great defense. He was a plus 16, scored 20 points. Like, all of a sudden, Portland looks pretty freaking reasonable, guys. So we'll see what they can get done in this one. Looking at the injury reports, Phoenix fully healthy for this game, so no excuses. I think they're a team that would love to make some trades, but they really can't make that happen. Portland also coming into this game fully healthy. Robert Williams III out. He's somebody they could definitely look to trading to somebody like the Lakers, who are in desperate need of a big man now. So we'll see what happens there, but liking what we're seeing from Portland at the minute. And looking at the numbers, guys, the Blazers, they're getting 4.5 points here at home. We got a total of 230.5. Phoenix 10-14 against the spread on the road, 9-13 against spread after a loss. They're a slight under team. Portland 14-11 against spread at home, 9-9-1 against spread after a win. They're 24-23-2 to the under. We're taking Portland again, guys. I'm not getting off of it. We're going to keep riding this train until it throws us off. Will Portland plus 4.5 go in the pin comment? It certainly has a very, very good chance. There's got a lot of competition in this one. It's a pretty decent slate. We may end up going even 5 plays in the pin comment, but I do worry about them having to beat this team back-to-back games, but I just don't think the Suns are very good, and their record and everything else would back that up. Like, we think Booker's going to go off for more than 37 points. We think Durant's going to more than make up for that. Like, it just doesn't feel like it right now. So give me the Blazers, getting 4.5 points at home. This is a very good play. Now, guys, changing gear, we're going to look at a couple of NCAA basketball plays for tonight. First up, we've got the Virginia Cavaliers going on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Panthers in some ACC action. Virginia comes into this game 10-12 on the season, fresh off of a tough loss against Virginia Tech. Losing a 1-point game in that one probably feels pretty freaking bad, but what are you going to do? You're not a great team. You end up making a comeback there in the second half, just coming up a little bit short. And obviously a rivalry game. We saw the Cavaliers shoot the ball pretty well in that one. They did a decent job on the boards, and you can't really ask that much more of this team that obviously has not been very good this season. They're not a squad with a real, bona fide superstar. They're really bad offensively, and they don't have the defense to go with it. Like, this is usually a team that focused, solely on defense, no focus on offense. And with a coaching change, at the very beginning of the season or right there in the preseason, I can't remember exactly when it happened, but definitely a big coaching change and a big shift and everything. And all of a sudden the wheels are falling off. They're also a terrible rebounding team. They play at a very low pace. Not a lot of positives right now for Virginia as they go on the road to take on the Pittsburgh Panthers, who are 14-7 on the year. They're fresh off of a tough 2-point loss at Wake Forest. They get to go back home now, which has to feel pretty good, but man, they really have to feel like they let one get away there. They were on a little bit of a roll, beating Syracuse and North Carolina. Not that either one of those wins are that impressive, but we've seen some good stuff from Pitt this season, but we've also seen some mediocre stuff. They're 5-5 in the ACC. That's not really going to get me super impressed. They do have a pretty good leading scorer there in Lowe. He's putting up nearly 18 points and 6 assists per game. That's very nice. They're an elite offensive team, 67th in the nation, scoring around 80 points per game. That's all well and good. So looking at the numbers here, the Panthers 12.5-point favorites. That's a big number. They've got a total on this game of 132.5. UVA, guys, 2-4 against spread on the road. They are 13-9 to the over. Pitt 8-4 against spread at home. They are 11-7-3 to the over. You could definitely talk me into over 132.5 in this game. I know that's weird to be taking an over in a Virginia game, but that's where we're at right now. I also think you want to be on the Pittsburgh Panthers at -12.5. I think they're in a nice bounce back spot. They get a blowout win and cover here at home against, not a very good team. They haven't blown out a ton of opponents by that many lately this season, so this isn't a play that's going to go in the pinned comment, but I do think that's the side you want to be on. Next up, guys, we got the marquee game of the night in college basketball. We've got number 3 Iowa State going on the road to take on the number 11 Kansas Jayhawks. Iowa State comes into this game fresh off of back-to-back losses. They just lost against Kansas State. Terrible game there from Iowa State, guys. They lost 80-61, a huge letdown after a tough letdown game there at Arizona. Maybe this was a huge look-ahead spot. I mean, obviously it was with Kansas on deck. Just didn't love anything we saw there from Iowa State. They didn't do a good job on the boards. They didn't do a good job defensively. They did shoot 44% from 3. That's something to feel good about, I guess, but only 36.5% from the field. Like, Kansas State is not a great opponent, and Iowa State just played terrible in this game. So a huge bounce back spot for them. They've obviously been one of the best teams in the nation this season. They're 20th in offense, a very highly rated defensive squad as well. They've got a monster in Curtis Jones. Keyshawn Gilbert is no slouch either. So this is a team with a ton of talent that was looking like possibly the best team in the nation there for a minute. Now they really have to prove it, because a couple bad games in a row and all of a sudden you start to tumble down those standings. So we'll see what happens here as they go on the road to take on the Kansas Jayhawks, one of the toughest places to play in the nation. But they did take a loss there against Houston. That one was at home, but that was a double overtime thriller. They bounced back with a 4-point win there against UCF. Then they just lost their last time out, guys, at Baylor, giving up the biggest lead they've ever given up in program history. They blew a 20-point lead to lose that game by 11 points. Not a good look. This Kansas team just not very inspiring, guys. Hunter Dickinson, 20 points, cool. Nobody else really had a good day out there at all, except for maybe Rylan Griffin coming off the bench. They shot 27% from 3. They did a terrible job on the boards. They got smashed on the board. So just not a Kansas Jayhawks team that I can get very excited about right now. And looking at their the season-long numbers, they're okay, but they're not necessarily insane. Like, they're 111th in the nation on offense. They're a good defensive team. They're a good rebounding team, but they did not look like a good rebounding team their last time out. So looking at the numbers here, the Jayhawks 2.5-point favorites. We've got a total of 145.5. Iowa State's actually 4-2 against spread on the road. They are 11-10 to the under. Kansas 5-7 against spread at home, 16-5 to the under. So first up, I love under 145.5 in this game. That's gonna be my main play. If you want to play on the side, I'd like Iowa State getting the points here, but definitely think this is a great spot to be on that under 145.5. I think we'll see offense be at something of a premium in this game, but with a high total like that, this is a very good play. And honestly, guys, on a slate that we like so many games, this even has a chance to end up in the pinned comment. Last but not least, guys, we've got the North Texas Mean Green going on the road to take on the UAB Blazers out there in the American Conference. The Mean Green come into this game 16-5 on the season. They're in a bounce back spot, though, fresh off of a bad 54-50 loss there at USTA. Not a team you're supposed to be losing to if you're wanting to be the best team out there in the American. They're now one game back of Memphis. They're tied with UAB right now in the standings. This has been a very, very good North Texas team. They play very solid defense. Not a great offensive team. They don't play with a ton of pace, so the rebounding numbers don't look great either, but this is a team that can pretty much hang with anybody. They've got a very close game against Memphis, and they did beat UAB earlier this season by 3 points, and that one was at home for North Texas. So we'll see what they can do on the road in this one. UAB comes into this game 14-8 on the season, fresh off of back-to-back wins. They got blown out there at Memphis, but then went on the road to Tulsa, got a 10-point win, and got a blowout win there against Charlotte their last time out. So this is a very interesting team, kind of an opposite end of the spectrum there from a team like North Texas. This UAB squad loves to get up and down. Their numbers reflect that. They're 11th in the nation in points per game, 14th in the nation in rebounds per game, but their defense is pretty bad, so definitely question marks there. Yaxel Lendenborg is a monster, guys. Don't get me wrong. 17.5 points per game, nothing to turn your nose up at. So looking at the numbers, guys, I'm not shocked to see this be a pick'em game. We've got a total of 137.5. North Texas, they are 4-2-1 against spread on the road, 9-9-1 to the over/under. UAB 6-6 against spread at home, and 11-9-1 to the over. First up, guys, this is gonna be a great game to watch. Very excited to watch this game. In terms of a bet, I like UAB here at home a little bit. I think this definitely deserves to be the coin flip that it's listed as. This isn't a play that's going to go in the pinned comment because it's really tough to know which way this one's going to go. But I do think playing at home in this matchup, we see the UAB Blazers take care of business, get a very close win. In terms of the total, I have no lean here, guys. This is just going to be a very exciting game to watch. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Do me a huge favor, hit that like button, help these videos get promoted out there. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate about any sport. I'll do my best to get back to you. I answer every single comment every single day. Make sure you get over to stumpthespread.com, guys. Get on that free email list. If nothing else, check out our premium picks if that's something you're interested in. We would love to give you our best bets every single day, but definitely get on that free email list. That's just free information straight to your inbox every single day, but only once a day. We're not trying to spam you guys with emails. So that's all I've got for this one. We'll see you guys tomorrow for more sports betting action.